Welcome to episode 2 of the Aggression Sessions video series with me, Dan Rock 08, and today we're going to talk about April 1st and the April 4th, 2002 episodes of Raw and Smackdown. The very first week of the brand new world that is the brand extension. Now when we have Raw, we have a brand new stage, new look, new feel, new graphics, new intro, new props, new everything. It's a whole new era of Raw. This is where we get the Union Underground theme across the nation. Move to the music, play the freaking music, moving to the music, yeah. I wish I could sing the song and not get demonetized, freaking YouTube. The big rhombus Titantron with the fire and the flames. I love this stage so much. Anyways, Ric Flair opens the show. He has the brand new Undisputed Championship, which is my favorite belt. And there will be a presentation for Triple H. He says he will sign Stone Cold Steve Austin at any means necessary. Our first match is Rob Van Dam and Booker T for the Intercontinental Championship. Both men are known for having their educated feet, their kicks, and their flashy moves. It's a hard-fought, back-and-forth kind of match. Booker T gets the upper hand towards the end as he hits his Harlem sidekick, but only gets the 2. He goes for the Spinaroonie. RVD hits him with the Frog Splash to retain the Intercontinental title. After the match, a returning Eddie Guerrero attacks Rob Van Dam from out of nowhere, hitting him with his Frog Splash. So the question is here, who has the better Frog Splash? Rob Van Dam or Eddie Guerrero? I always thought Rob Van Dam had the better Frog Splash. I thought his was flashier, but I guess from a technical standpoint, Eddie Guerrero's was better because he knew how to perform it better without hurting you or hurting himself. Whereas RVD, he always hurt himself doing it for shoot. Eddie Guerrero is back from rehab. He was gone throughout the entire invasion. I was always wondering where would he stand in the invasion. But he went through a lot of independent wrestling scenes where he fought CM Punk. And that's where CM Punk, he thought he was really, really good. And then he got in the ring with Eddie Guerrero and realized he sucked. His words, not mine. Anyways, Vince McMahon comes out and interrupts, and right from the get-go, they've already screwed up the rules. They said that they will never touch. You will never see a SmackDown talent on Raw, and Vince McMahon owns SmackDown, so already they screwed it up. He interrupts, and he wants Stone Cold, and he will not leave until he does. Flair tells the producers to cut to a commercials and escort him out. When we get back, Vince McMahon is still in the ring. He says, "Money talk and bullshit walks." Flair comes out for a survey. "Do you want Stone Cold to come to Raw? Give me a hell yeah." And then the Big Show comes out and carries Vince McMahon out like he's a little child. Pretty kind of funny right there. Next up, we have Spike Dudley versus William Regal in a non-title match. Regal hides his brass knucks in the turnbuckle, but referee Nick Patrick sees it out of the corner of his eye, takes it away. When Regal goes to retrieve the brass knuckles later on in the match, realizes it's not there. This gives Spike Dudley the opportunity to hit him with his turnbuckle, the Deadly Dog move, with the upset. Now, I thought, if memory serves me correctly, there is a match where Spike Dudley beats William Regal in like 3 seconds, like as fast as you possibly can, and wins the European title. I thought that was this match, but it wasn't. I guess it's a later match. There are quite a few backstage segments with the NWO taking over the old APA setup. Trish and Terry, this part's funny. So Trish is talking to one of the wardrobe designer ladies, and Terry Runnels comes up and she's jealous of Trish. And then Ric Flair comes into the picture, And he says the Raw audience will love to see you two compete in a, get this, a paddle on a pole bikini match. And everyone sorely misses the Ruthless Aggression era. The NWO beats up Bradshaw, and then we get the hardcore title match. It's up next. Bubba takes on Raven. Raven, he has this shopping cart of weapons. He even has oranges, or maybe they're tangerines or something. Bubba gets the citrus out. He starts juggling. I didn't realize he could juggle. Raven sets up a chair. He goes for a Raven effect. He also goes for his drop toe hold type move into the chair. Bubba counters, hits him with his sit out full Nelson bomb that he does, the Bubba bomb, and he wins the hardcore title. He gets the hell out of Dodge. As I said, Maven was the hardcore champion, drafted at SmackDown, but then he loses to Raven. Maven to Raven. Good Lord. Vince is still waiting outside. He's in the parking lot, and they were nice enough to give him a limo. Okay, I guess SmackDown, when a SmackDown guy shows up on Raw, he gets treated like royalty, even if it is Vince McMahon. He still gets his limousine. Ric Flair is ready to present the new title to Triple H, but out comes The Undertaker. Old Booger Red reminds Ric Flair of WrestleMania and tells... Now, keep in mind, we're deep in the what chants. And they're saying what? Every time somebody talks, there's what? And when Stone Cold comes out, they really play it up. So they're doing the what chant to The Undertaker. And The Undertaker hits them with the greatest comeback of all time. He tells the crowd, you know what? Say what again? Say what again if you sleep with your sister? Ha ha ha. That's the best. Say what? If you say what one more time, you sleep with your sister. That's funny. He says he will make Flair relive the beating that he took from WrestleMania once again if he is not named the number one contender. So Triple H comes out and he challenges Taker to a match at Backlash. But why wait till Backlash? He wants to fight him right there and right now. Taker kind of backs off, and he does something a little cutesy. He puts the title, the brand new belt, right on Triple H's shoulders and tells him to hold it while he still can. And that's the end of that presentation. I love that segment because this is when the what chant is getting really annoying. Now, me personally, I like the what chant. I'm sorry. Especially when it's like a heel that a lot of people can't understand. And it just, I'm sorry, I love the what chant. But Taker's reply to it was brilliant. The Hardy Boys versus Mr. Perfect and the Big Boost Man is next. And, the other tag team kind of makes me sad because they're both gone. Again, I don't understand why the Hardy Boys are on Raw. They're your most popular tag team, but your tag team titles are exclusive to SmackDown. Freaking stupid. That's like if your most popular woman is Trish Stratus, but she's on SmackDown, but your women's title are exclusive to Raw. You know what I'm saying? Just really screwed up. It's a fine generation versus generation match. The Hardy Boys win. Afterwards, Brock Lesnar attacks the Hardys with a massive F5 on Matt and scary powerbombs to Jeff. Then we have the paddle on a pole bikini match. And this is a 5-star classic, everybody, between Trish Stratus and Terry Rollins. I mean, I'm going to tell you this. Of all the matches in Raw history, forget Undertaker versus Jeff in that great ladder match. Forget Mr. Perfect and Ric Flair. Forget John Cena and CM Punk in 2013. Forget Daniel Bryan and Randy Orton. The greatest match in Raw history is the paddle on a pole bikini match between Trish Stratus and Terry Reynolds. April Fools. Trish wins. You know, it's a titillating match. You know, they both, you know, have their cheeks out. Dude, I will never complain about Trish Stratus being in bra and panties. I'm sorry. I'm going to get in a little rant right now. Okay. I understand why people think it's demeaning back in the day where you had bra and panty matches and you had mud bath matches and stuff like that. But those people who say it was demeaning to women, I got news for you guys. You were the same people growing up watching that shit that went to your Barnes & Noble and tried stealing Sable's Playboy. You know you were. You know you went to your newsletters. You know you went to your newsstands. Or you went up to your daddy's room. You went up to your parents' room. And you tried sneaking out Sable's Playboy, Chyna's Playboy, Tori Wilson's Playboy. I fucking did. I tried going to Barnes & Noble. I tried going to newsstands and tried stealing Tori Wilson's Playboy. So, you people who bitch and cry about it's demeaning to women, you're the same people growing up fapping to this stuff. And you know you did, so shut the hell up. Anyways, Molly Holly comes out and she whacks Trish right in the face with the paddle. Right in the face and breaks it. It's actually a pretty nasty looking spot. Finally, we get to almost. We're almost there. Stone Cold Steve Austin appears in Flair's office. Now, Stone Cold Steve Austin has been gone for the last 2 weeks of TV. He basically took his ball and he went home. He was tired. He was completely out of it. And Stone Cold was really frustrated at this point. And that's the kayfabe reason why he wasn't part of the draft was because he had it in his clause that he would be a free agent. I don't know how he could see into the future that there would be a draft when there was no draft. But anyways. But the real reason was because he went home. He went home and they didn't know if he was going to come back or not. Now, obviously, we all know what will happen eventually towards King of the Ring. But anyway, Stone Cold was gone for 2 weeks. He's back. And he wants Vince McMahon to come back into the arena. Let him speak and let him talk. And Ric Flair's kind of, he has this quintessential look on his face. Like, why would you want him back in after everything he's done to you? So then we get the main event of the show. Kane versus X-Pac. And I'm not really sure if this is where he debuted his new theme. But this had to have been one of the earliest times I hear. Because I don't think he had Slow Chemical at WrestleMania X8. But Kane debuts his new theme, Slow Chemical. And I love that theme so much. I want him to come out with it. X-Pac has the Outsiders with him, of course. Every time Kane gets the momentum, the NWO will interfere. Eventually, Kane gets enough attack. He gets enough of it. He has enough. Enough is enough. It's time for a change. Kane then beats up Scott Hall. He hits his top rope clothesline on X-Pac. Scott Hall comes back in. Whacks Kane from behind. It's a DQ finish, of course. They beat him down. Bradshaw comes out. And Bradshaw and Kane manages to take down all three members of the NWO. Already, the NWO, ever since WrestleMania, has looked incredibly weak. A little bit of a funny moment here. So Kane goes for his, he goes for his spot where he raises his arms. He wants the pyro, But his pyro don't go off. It goes off like 10 seconds later. It's really fucking funny. No pyro for you. And then all of a sudden just pops. Finally, we get the main event segment. Ric Flair and Vince McMahon, they're out there. And they're trying to make an argument. Vince McMahon, he has a lot of colorful words in his promo. He says it was his intellectual sperm that fertilized pro wrestling into sports entertainment and made the WWF the world global entity it is. He took what his father had, his national wrestling organization, and made it a global phenomenon. He took all the old-timey guys out, and Stone Cold's going to recognize that. And you, Ric Flair, you're just, what? You were just a 16-time champion? Stone Cold comes out, and again, the what chants, they are ever so prevalent. He comes out, allows them both to talk, and again, really plays it up. Stone Cold isn't having any of Vince McMahon's kissing ass or Flair kissing ass. He tells Vince that even though he put him through a lot of hell, he did bring out the best in him. And he tells Ric Flair that he always respected him for being the 16-time champion and what he represents. He then says he will sign with Vince McMahon and Smackdown. This is very shocking. Nobody, they really, holy shit, Stone Cold's going to go with Vince McMahon? And Ric Flair has nothing, he has no idea. What the hell? As he goes to sign, and Vince McMahon has this big dick on his face, has this big dick face on him. As Stone Cold goes to sign, he says, I have one more thing to tell you, Vince. April Fools. Gives him a big fat stunner. And actually, Vince McMahon actually takes the stunner pretty well. Not like at WrestleMania 38. Holy crap, guys. But Vince actually took a decent stunner. Flair goes nuts. He goes absolutely nuts. He celebrates. He says, let's get some beers in here. He tosses Austin a beer. And Austin's just waiting for Ric Flair to stop doing what he's doing, stop strutting and profiling. He even does a knee drop on the beer. Again, Flair strutting and profiling, only Flair can. They go for the toast. Finally, they go for the toast, and Austin hits him with the stunner. He signs the papers to be on Raw, and then he gives Vince McMahon one more stunner, just because, why the hell not? And that was Raw. Overall, I thought Raw was actually pretty kind of all over the place, but it hit where it needed to hit. RVD versus Booker T was actually a good match. Kane versus X-Pac was good despite a lot of the interferences. Like I said, we're not in the time yet where it's all about where we get awesome matches. A lot of the brand extension stuff, a lot of the draft stuff is starting to kick in. It's a lot of, it's a lot of transition. They don't know necessarily what they have with some of these guys. What are they going to have out of Bradshaw and Bubba? But as you see during this show, guys like Bubba and Bradshaw, they got a lot of airtime. They got a lot of big segments going on. The Hardy Boys, of course, ever so popular. Kane in 2002, up until Katie Vick, I'd say Kane had a hell of a 2002 until Katie Vick happened. But anyways, overall, pretty decent episode of Raw. And now let's talk about SmackDown. So SmackDown starts off with Vince McMahon in his office, and he says that Ric Flair had no authority naming The Undertaker as the number one contender because Vince McMahon gets to name the number one contender because he who wins the coin toss also gets to name the number one contender. Which begs the question, how would they determine the number one contender for the Undisputed title? If you're the top guy on Raw and you're the top guy on SmackDown, who gets the title shot? Really begs the question. So out comes Kurt Angle, and he says he deserves to be the number one contender because he has beaten Triple H more than anyone else has. Chris Jericho comes out. He says he deserves it because he never got a proper rematch for the Undisputed title. The only match he got was that triple threat match, and Stephanie's the one who lost it. Then The Rock comes out. He comes out to a big ovation. He runs down his accolades, but makes a suggestion that it shouldn't be The Rock. It should be a legend. And Chris Jericho pipes up. Well, thank you, I am the living legend, and The Rock shuts him down with it doesn't matter what you think. Rock says, it should be an icon. Well, thank you, says Kurt Angle. I am, and it doesn't matter what you think. I thought The Rock could never say it doesn't matter. I think Vince McMahon said that, but, whatever. It doesn't matter. It matters what the people say. And the man who should get the number one contendership is Hulk Hogan, which gets a huge, huge reaction. And the fans chant for Hogan, Hogan. Then we move on to Billy and Chuck versus Albert and Scotty 2 Hotty. Before the match, Scotty 2 Hotty and Albert have a few words. It is for the tag team titles. It's a simple run-of-the-mill tag team match. Not a whole lot to say here. Rico sneaks in and helps Billy and Chuck get the victory. Afterwards, Scotty 2 Hotty, he gets Rico down and he sets him up for the warm. But before he can hit the warm, that big hippopotamus, the big hippo hop, the hip hop hippo, as he's called, Albert hits him with a bicycle. I want to ride my bicycle kick, and betrays and turns on his buddy Scotty 2 Hotty, which tag team titles are exclusive to SmackDown, and there are no tag teams whatsoever on SmackDown. Kurt Angle's backstage as Edge confronts him. Edge says that he has found some old photos in his attic, and he says, Kurt, you and I, we've had our differences. We've had a lot of problems lately, and I hope these photos really help ease tension between us. Kurt Angle takes a look at the photos, and yes, this is the classic segment where, Kurt Angle, he looks at the old photos. Now, we can't see the photos, but we see what's written on the back of the photos, and every time Kurt Angle reveals a photo, it reveals what we are seeing. It says, he's a dork, he sucks, it's true, no testicles. Kurt Angle, he's really like relieved, like that Edge is a great guy. Then he realizes that Edge made a big fool of him. Very classic moment, very funny, very funny. Vince is now interviewed by Mark Lloyd. He says he could care less what these people say. He could care less what The Rock and Jericho and all these people think. I could not care less, Vince. And he is about ready to name drop the number one contender. And Vince says it will be Triple H versus Hollywood Hogan at Backlash. So there you have it. Triple H versus Hulk Hogan for Backlash. Forget that whole thing with The Undertaker and Triple H. It never happened, guys. We then get a WrestleMania rematch between Christian and Diamond Dallas Page. Christian, he lures DDP in with his tinter tantrum and hits him with his eye rake. Gets the Unprettier for the victory. A fine match, but not as good as their WrestleMania match. Then, so after the reaction with Hulk Hogan getting the title match, Chris Jericho, he storms out. He sees what happened on those old TVs and on those old JVC big TVs with a big ass back. He confronts The Rock and he tells, how could you? See what you did? You see what you did? Now that has been, that never was, Hulk Hogan gets the title shot. You know what, Rock? I've beaten you at Backlash. I've beaten you at No Mercy. I beat you at the Rumble. Rock stops him and says, how about you try to beat The Rock tonight? And Jericho says, I'm not a has-been. I will beat you again. And The Rock says, get ready. So we're going to get The Rock versus Chris Jericho, and that is our main event for SmackDown. Triple H, he's coming out next. He has the new Undisputed Championship around his waist, and he gets a really big reaction. He reminds us that it won't be Taker, but it will be Hogan versus Triple H at Backlash. Triple H says he could care less either way. I cannot care less. I could not care less. Vince, I could not care less. Triple H, if you could care less, it's impossible to care less because you can't care less. It's I could not care less. Jesus. Grammar, people. Grammar. And I'm not very good at it either. He says, despite Taker it not being you, he will still, after he's done with Hogan, he will still kick his ass. Out comes Hogan. And Hogan, he's not in the black and white anymore. He has the red and the yellow, which gets a huge reaction. And I feel bad for Triple H because here he is, undisputed champion. He wins at WrestleMania. He came back from 8 months of quadricep surgery. And, you know, they had the whole Beautiful Day music video with U2, and he gets a big reaction, but then Hogan comes back and just completely obliterates it out of the water, and nobody really cares for Triple H's comeback anymore. So Hogan, he tells Triple H that he thought he could never get any bigger than at WrestleMania 1 or WrestleMania 3 when he body slammed Andre. Or he said it could not get any bigger than at WrestleMania X8. But then he tells Triple H there is nothing bigger than the Undisputed Championship. And Triple H says it would be an honor to face the immortal Hulk Hogan. It would be an honor to face the Icon at Backlash, to face one of his heroes. And it also makes him sad because he has to beat the hell out of Hogan. He has to beat the hell out of one of his icons. He tells Hogan at Backlash, you're not immortal, you're not the Icon, you're just an obstacle course, and he will run you down. Hogan says, every time you think Hogan's down, every time you think Hulkamania is down, Hulkamania comes back and runs wild. He asks Triple H the mighty question, the immortal question, what you gonna do, pal? What you gonna do, brother, when Hulkamania runs wild on you and takes back the Undisputed Championship and becomes the champion once again, brother? He rips his shirt off. He goes crazy. Hogan must pose. Next up, Kurt Angle versus Edge. Early on in the match, Kurt Angle goes for his angle slam, but is countered by the winning Edge. It's back and forth, back and forth. Edge gets the Edge-o-matic for the 2. Angle gets stuck in the ropes when Edge hits him not once but twice with the spears in the ropes. Angle, now outside the ring, he grabs the chair. It's quickly taken away. Angle gets an upper hand but is stopped. The ref gets in Edge's way. Angle grabs the chair, hits Edge right in the face with it, and gets disqualified. He goes to hit Edge again, but Edge takes the chair away, kicks him in the face, and Kurt Angle runs for the hills. And that's the end of that. Backstage, we see Torrie Wilson and the BK Bomber, Billy Kidman. They're backstage, you know, being friend, even though they're banging. And Tajiri sees this, and he kind of big dogs Billy Kidman and makes Tori Wilson kiss him on the cheek. She says, she's with me, buddy. Even though backstage there, the BK Bomber is, he's really bombing with Tori. You know what I mean? Lucky bastard. Lucky SOB. I'm just going to say this. Everyone has their favorite. Everyone has their heroes. Some will say their dad is their hero. Some will say maybe it's The Rock is their hero. Hulk Hogan. Maybe it's a firefighter. Maybe it's a policeman. My hero is Billy Kidman. Because for a good couple of years there, he got to be, banging Tori Wilson. And oh my goodness. Anyways, Billy Kidman versus Tajiri for the Cruiserweight Championship. Big kick and a huge plancha to the outside as we start off this Cruiserweight title match. Kidman catches Tajiri with a drop kick midair for 2. He hits a windmill for 2. Billy counters a springboard DDT into the BK Bomber. He goes for his shooting star press, gets nothing. Tajiri counters with a spinning wheel kick. Get a load of that. There's a lot of spinning wheel kicks in this show. For the 2. He tries the tarantula. Tajiri gets his Cruiserweight title. He puts it in the ring. He puts it in the corner of the ring. Tori Wilson grabs the Cruiserweight title away. He gets the tarantula on Billy Kidman. He wants to grab the Cruiserweight title to smack Billy Kidman, but he doesn't see it. He sees that Tori has it. He argues with Tori. This distracts him. Billy Kidman gets an O'Connor roll for the 1-2-3 new Cruiserweight champion, Billy Kidman. Tajiri then runs down Tori Wilson in Japanese. We don't understand what he says. The crowd, again, what? Obviously, he called her Obviously, Tajiri called Tori Wilson the goddess of the WWE, the greatest woman to ever live. He called Tori Wilson the greatest Hall of Famer in the WWE, and that nobody deserved the Hall of Fame spot more so than Tori Wilson. That's what he said. He said, one day, Tori Wilson, you will be in the Hall of Fame, and you will be the greatest Hall of Famer of all time. And you are the sexiest. You are the greatest. Backstage, Vince McMahon, he is pissed off that Maven lost the hardcore title. He couldn't care. He could care less that Maven is on his show. He just wanted the hardcore title. The camera pans out. He is talking to Hardcore Holly. Oh, God. Bob Holly says that if he was the trainer for Tough Enough Season 1, Maven wouldn't last a day. This obviously gives Vince McMahon a great idea because in Season 2 and Season 3, or maybe it was either Season 2 or Season 3 that Bob Holly kicks the unholy shit out of Matt Cappotelli in one of the most heinous viciousness I've ever seen in my life. And look, I had an opportunity to meet Hardcore Holly, and he's actually, I'm sure Hardcore Holly is actually a decent guy, but I just want to say, fuck you, Hardcore Holly, for what you did. Just completely bullshit. Anyways, then comes Stacy Keibler. She wants to offer Vince her services, and Vince just drops, and then we drop something. Then Stacy bends over, and we get to look at her buns, and again, Stacy Keibler should be in the Hall of Fame. One of the most deserving people to be in the Hall of Fame. I don't care what people say. She deserves it. She says she wants to be the executive assistant for Vince McMahon going forward. Then we get a commercial break. As we come back, we get another knock on the door. Man, this segment just won't end. This time, in comes Devon. And Devon wants Vince to testify. Why did you split up the Dudleys? Basically, Vince blames Flair for drafting them separately. He says he wanted the Dudleys. He also tells Devon to get the hell out of his office and don't come back until he finds out who he is. And oh boy, Reverend Devon, he's coming. He's coming. And he's going to talk down on us and tell us why masturbation is no good. Maven is backstage with Maven's backstage with Al Snow, and Al Snow basically runs him down and say, listen, 1 year ago you were some teacher at a school in Oregon. Now look at you, 3-time hardcore champion, and you're going to get the biggest ass kicking of your life by Hardcore Holly. He kisses him on the cheeks and he says, God bless you, kid. And Maven takes this very well by sipping on a big gulp from 7-Eleven. I want my 7-Eleven collector's cups. God damn it. We don't have a 7-Eleven here in Iowa. And I'm like, I wanted those cups. Anyways, Maven versus Hardcore Holly is basically a squash match. Hardcore Holly beats the shit out of him as per usual. It's an awesome drop kick. The Alabama Slam out for 3. And there you go. On to the main event. The main event of Smackdown. Chris Jericho versus The Rock. Before the match even gets started, Chris Jericho attacks The Rock. He works him over in the corner, saying, you think I'm a has-been? You think I'm a has-been? Nails him with a missile drop kick for the 2. He goes for the suplex. He goes for the come on baby pin, which never ever gets him the victory. I wonder if there is a match. There has to be a match. There has to be maybe a house show match where Chris Jericho wins with the come on baby pin. Jericho wants the missile dropkick again, but The Rock goes right into the ropes. Jericho slips, and his little Jericho balls, his little Jericho-holic balls, get squashed. His has-been balls, his living legend balls. I'll find a name for it. His little Jericho-holic balls. Anyways, the superplex, we get a double down. Rock hits his comeback, the people's punches, the Samoan drop, the belly to belly. Gets the 2. Jericho counters, gets a forearm, but smashes the referee with that said forearm. The Rock gets his shit shooter in, because it's the shit shooter because he can never hit the sharpshooter, right? In comes Kurt Angle. Chris Jericho takes advantage. He wants his people elbow. The kip up. The spine on the pine from The Rock. Rock goes for his people's elbow. Angle gets back in with the Angle slam. The Chris Jericho gets the pin, but no pinfall. The ref slowly gets back up. 1-2 kick out. Edge gets involved. He attacks Kurt Angle. They fight into the crowd. Now Edge, he is in the sea of humanity, the sea of all of his edge heads. Let's see here. Where are we at here? They fight in the crowd. The final moments. The Rock goes for his people punches. Goes for the Rock bottom. It is countered. Chris Jericho hits his facebuster bulldog move. Goes for the lion salt. He misses. He counters. The Rock hits the Rock bottom. 1, 2, 3. And finally, The Rock has beaten Chris Jericho. Right there on SmackDown, The Rock gets the monkey off his back, finally beats Chris Jericho, and closes the show. So overall, I thought SmackDown probably was the better show. You had a new Cruiserweight champion. Now, one thing I will say about these shows is, if you watch these shows, they are giving the younger talent, they're giving the newer, fresher talent a lot more airtime. On Raw, as I said, Bubba Ray Dudley got a lot of big stuff. Bradshaw did too. On this show, Billy Kidman was featured pretty prominently. getting the Cruiserweight title. But nobody was featured more prominently than Edge. Edge and Kane on Raw are getting some big pushes here. As I said, Edge, he had that memorable moment with Kurt Angle where, he sees those photos, but we see what is actually said on the back. And the encounter at the end, the match with Kurt Angle. Chris Jericho versus The Rock was a very good match. Overall, I'm going to give the nod to SmackDown. They win the week. They're probably going to win most weeks. Anyways, that is April 4th, 2002 episode of SmackDown in the books, in the can, out of sight. And next week, episode 3 is the April 8th and the April 11th episodes of Raw and SmackDown right here. Catch you next time on the Aggression Sessions. See you around.